Welcome to this video. We're going to talk today about the different types of tractors that are available on the market and some of the key things that we need to know in order to pick the right tractor for our application. But before we get started with that kind of specific information, there's always one thing we want to know about a tractor, and that's the make, model, and serial number in case we need to go get parts from the dealer. So every tractor is going to be equipped with a series of plates around the tractor. You're going to have an engine plate, you're going to have a tractor plate, and you're going to have a ROPS plate. And those are all certifications that tell the serial number for that particular tractor, engine, or rollover protection structure. So as you can see here on this tractor, we have our plate right here for the tractor. It gives the tractor serial number, the model, and this plate even gives the engine number and the transmission number right on the plate there. Very common spot right on the frame rail to have a plate. Very common for your engine, transmission, and tractor plates to be combined into one, like this one, or to have them separate at different points on the frame rail. Occasionally you'll find them in the operator's station, and the ROPS plate you almost always find on the ROPS itself. So, without further ado, let's introduce compact tractors. Welcome to Compact Tractors. So today we're going to talk about kind of the different sizes and configurations of compact tractors and how they could work on your production system. So compact tractors, you're going to find these more often than not with small farmers. This is in that 50 horsepower range, and in all honesty, for production vegetable work, this is probably on the small side. So you'll notice here that with this compact tractor, we've got a couple of things. We have really wide tires on this particular one. So these tires, they're a little bit more than 12 inches. They're not going to fit in a furrow very easily. They're going to blow out your furrow. So this tractor, as it's set up right now, would be a little bit better for doing more of light primary tillage or light secondary tillage until you get down into your furrows. Or you can get a second set of tires, put a little narrower tire on it, and get it into your furrows. But you would have to swap tires out. So the benefit to a compact tractor is that the tractor is a small size. It allows you to get into small areas. So if you're farming anywhere from 1 to 5 acres, even 10 acres, this tractor is going to fit into your field and fit into the tight spaces and allow you to have more producible land because your headlands can be a little bit shorter, a little narrower to accommodate this tractor. The next benefit to a compact tractor is that it's highly configurable. So this particular tractor is set up with a bucket on the front, and if we sweep around, the bucket actually has some quick disconnects on there, and we can pull the bucket off and we can manufacture any sort of attachment we need, everything from a forklift skids, clear through drip tape, reels, anything we want for the front end, easy to put onto those quick links. So that adaptability is a real nice feature of a compact tractor. The next benefit for compact tractors is that you can get mid-mount PTO shafts. So having a PTO power mid-mount can be really beneficial. There are some cultivating tools out there where it's really nice to be able to have those mid-mounted, where you can look over the side of your tractor and see where the cultivating tool is right next to your leg. So that can be a benefit in certain cases as well. As you can see here, another benefit of a compact tractor is the simplicity of the operator's station. You have everything that you need right here at the dash or right here next to your right hand. So everything's easily accessible, quickly accessible. You don't have to scroll through a computer to get to it. That simplicity has a whole lot of benefit. So compact utility tractors, they're designed to do a wide range of operations, everything from primary tillage to secondary tillage. I mean, if you have animals, they're great for even mucking out pens or prepping and dressing arenas, things like that. So with a wide variety of applications here, there's a lot of configurability. Part of that configurability requires that you need to be able to ballast or weight the tractor appropriately for the task at hand. So it's very common that the tractor comes fully weighted. In this case, our wheels do have water ballast in there. So you can see that these wheels, they're filled about 75% with water on each of these to add weight so we can get the appropriate traction through the field and minimize our slippage. Furthermore, the wheels also have wheel weights on them. So at the hub, there's extra weight that's been mounted, so that way the tractor sits appropriately. In a future video, we're going to go over how they decide, or how one decides what kind of ballast and where to put that ballast. But suffice it to say that coming from a dealership, they're going to look at the operation that requires the heaviest tractor, and they're going to ballast your tractor for that particular operation. Now, if you're looking for fuel efficiency, if you're looking to reduce wear and tear on your tractor, that's where minimizing the ballast and only using the right amount of ballast for the task at hand is going to have the most benefit for you. One of the drawbacks to ballasting is actually when it comes time to repair a wheel. Say you damage a wheel in the field, putting a new water ballasted wheel on requires a crane. These wheels are way too heavy for one or two people to try and lift. So that's just a couple of things to think about when you're ballasting, is just about what it's going to take in order to make all of this happen. So with the configurability of compact tractors, if you didn't have a bucket on here, you'd need some weight on the front end in order to ballast this tractor properly. Notice that it has the plate right up here up front, so you could add suitcase weights to the front as well if needed. All right. So another feature of a compact utility tractor is you can get them in two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. You can see here that this tractor is four-wheel drive. The front wheels have the knobs that go across to grab and provide pulling power, traction in the field. This is a real benefit, especially for crop producers, because a lot of the operations we do are in tilled soils. So we need to make sure that we have the ability to pull our way through that with an implement on the back. All right, so compact utility tractors come in all sorts of flavors. You can see this one, born in 1972, still kicking, still doing a great job. So one of the big deals, especially for veg crop production, is making sure that we have enough height to get through where we need to get through. So this one is set up to do basic and initial field work. It is two-wheel drive, so we can't pull anything super heavy through the field because we don't have the front-wheel drive as a way of getting extra traction in there. But this old tractor can still pull a cultivating sled on a single row and still make it through furrows, while about the first third stage of growth for our tomatoes, things like that. So great size tractor, again, for small farms, and super useful when you need to get into tight and narrow areas. Sometimes you need to get into a field where crops are a little bit taller in order to cultivate, get those last couple of cultivations in, and that's where a high crop setup comes in handy. And you can see this old utility tractor, compact utility tractor, is set up for high crop. You can see how much bigger the distance is between the ground and the frame of the tractor, allowing you to work later into the season with your crops. Great benefit, and it's a really cool setup. One of the big drawbacks to high crop is it changes the ability of the tractor to pull heavier loads. So when we start looking at doing tillage where we have larger draft forces, we really want a tractor that is slung lower to the ground. Now, one of the amazing things about tractors is that you can change that. So you can often reconfigure tractors just by changing out the tires nowadays. Bigger and smaller, taller and shorter tires allow you to get a lot of that distance. You'll see that on some of the other tractors that we talk about. All right, so we've been talking about compact utility tractors, tractors that are generally in the 30 to 50 horsepower range. There are other utility tractors out there, and they're actually even more common than the compact utility tractor. And the utility tractor you see behind me is a 65 horsepower, and that 50 to 110 horsepower utility tractor is super common in veg crop production. It's a great size for cultivating and doing a lot of other field work. You'll notice that even though this utility tractor has a bucket set up on it, you'll notice that the wheels are set up at 12 inches, and this one is set up so it's slightly lifted up. I'm not sure that I would necessarily call this a high crop tractor because they can come taller than this, but this is a really good height and compromise that can get you through the field through the bulk of your production season. And the nice part with the 12-inch wide tire on there is you can fit right down most furrows, at least furrows for this area. If you're in a different area where you use a 9-inch furrow, you can definitely get 9-inch tires as well for this. Now, one of the reasons on a utility tractor we do try to go with the widest tire that's practical is that the wider the tire, the bigger the implement on the back we can use, or the heavier load in the front we can deal with. So this tractor right here, great example of a utility tractor that you might see in the field. Although at most places that I go to, I'm seeing these without cabs. They're open station. Okay, so in the last section we talked about compact utility tractors and regular standard utility tractors. So as we start moving up in size, we're going to get to sizes that are starting to become more common for larger production systems. And the tractor behind me here, this John Deere, is about 110 horsepower. It runs Category 2 or Category 3 hitch on the back of it, and you can see that this is set up for high crop. We use this a lot for cultivation and when we're running in deep furrows and need some clearance under the tractor. So one of the big things here with these larger tractors is to make sure that your wheel spacing fits your furrows. And that's true with the compact and the utility tractors, but by the time you get to these big tractors, it is super easy and really, really critical that these wheels line up with the furrows. That way you can minimize your compaction and you don't blow out your beds. So you'll see here, again, we got a 12-inch tire. We use 12-inch furrows around here for what we do. You can see the front wheel is also almost as tall as the rear wheel back there. And this is in part due to the fact that this is four-wheel drive. So we're generating a lot of pulling power. Behind me you can see the suitcase ballasts to make sure the front end is appropriately weighted. And in fact, from experience, we could throw a couple more suitcases on here and make this pull even nicer. You'll notice that on this tractor, we have a cab for operator comfort. It helps us in two ways. One way, it's really nice when you're roading this tractor between fields to not be sucking bugs like you would on an open station. The second benefit to having a cab on the tractor is the air conditioning. It allows us to set working hours where we don't have to start super early in the morning in order to beat the afternoon heat. So we don't have to worry about operators and operator health and safety when it's very hot out, in the same way with a cab tractor that we would with an open station tractor. Another benefit as we move up in tractor sizes is moving from being able to work one row to multiple rows. So starting somewhere between 90 and 120 horsepower, we can often start working some of our equipment into 3 beds at a time instead of just 1 bed. And that's a big difference as we start moving into the larger tractors out of the utility tractor size. All right, so you can see that as we move into the 200 horsepower range, we're starting to move into a tractor that is set up to do some decent work. And this starts to be the size where we can run a power incorporator or a culti-mulcher across 3 beds and start working with some real efficiency. You can see that this tractor is set up again for 12-inch furrows, and it's also set up to do multiple beds. You can see it's also got 4-wheel drive on there. And that is a huge benefit when we start dealing with heavier implements like a culti-mulcher or a power incorporator. This 200 plus horsepower tractor size, as we've talked about earlier, is very common around here. What you will see a lot of farmers doing in order for the back end of this tractor to be able to support the weight of some of the heavier implements, like a 3-row culti-mulcher or a heavy disc, but let's focus on the 3-row culti-mulcher because we're going to have furrows there. You'll see that they'll run spools in between wheels and then have another set of wheels out here. So you'll run rear duals, sometimes even front duals, to improve your traction and reduce the compaction that you put into that furrow. And again, as with all of the tractors we've talked about, we're able to space these wheels any which way we want. So when we run a spool on here to extend that axle out for another wheel, we're going to need that spool to match our furrow spacing. Another benefit as we move into this size tractor is that we can start pulling heavier implements, and this tractor is at the starting size to be able to double up and help us with our primary tillage, especially in the size fields that we do in this region here. As we get into larger tractors, you'll see that regions with larger fields, you might actually move up towards a 400 horsepower tractor, about double the horsepower of this tractor, and start being able to work more efficiently by pulling heavier equipment. But as far as functionality goes, this 200 horsepower works really well for what we do because it can pull a large enough disc. If we need to, we ballast the front of it and we can plow or do some deep tillage, deep ripping with it. We're just a little less efficient than if we moved into the next size up. No matter the type of tractor, no matter the size of tractor we're using, we want to make sure that we get the right tractor for the job that we're doing. Remember, compact tractors are the jack of all trades. They do a lot of different things. They serve a lot of purposes. This is perfect on a small farm or a small ranch where you may have many different things for that tractor to do, and none of them very heavy things to do, like deep tillage, things like that. And remember that as tractors increase in size, both physical size and horsepower, they increase in costs. While they can do particular jobs really, really well, as you start configuring them for specific tasks, things like I'm going to get a tractor set up as a high crop for cultivation, or I'm going to get a big tractor so I can do heavy tillage, I want it on tracks, things like that. These all increase the costs of the tractor. So it's really important that you know the operation that you have going on and that you specify the tractor for the purpose that you intend. This will save you money. Not only do you need to specify the right tractor for the right part of the operation that you're looking to perform, but you also need to have all of your tractors set up to maximize their efficiency. Every moment that you are on that tractor and that tractor is on, you are costing money to the operation. So having a tractor that is well set up, well ballasted for the operation at hand is going to make the tractor more fuel efficient. It's going to help the frame of the tractor and the parts of the tractor last longer. So you're going to have to do less repairs to the tractor. These things become really, really important over time, especially as you're in the operator's seat. And if you can have it set up so the tractor works efficiently, it means that many fewer minutes or hours that you are having to operate the equipment to get the job done. And the sooner you get it done right, the sooner you get to planting your crop in the ground. So the point of today's video is really simple. We want to make sure that you know the options that are out there so you can size the tractor to the operation that you have going on, and that you can make the best use of the money that you have available and get the most tractor for the money that you have, so you get the most bang for the buck. Remember, don't forget to get it set up properly as well.